This morning we have a very important conversation, but that was Dead Del by Cal Clotte. The song itself is Dead Del. Anyway, so this morning, yesterday was International Women's Day, and all of us were celebrating all the amazing women in our lives who are doing amazing stuff across several industries. Today, we're diving into a conversation about how women are actually shaping Ghana's future through leadership. From business to media and even in STEM. Women are breaking barriers, inspiring the next generation and driving real change across our country. And today we are having we have two amazing leaders who are going to share their journeys with us. They are going to share some insights and advice for anyone listening who dreams of stepping into leadership themselves. We'll talk about challenges, we'll talk about mentorship, innovation, and most importantly, how women can lift each other up to create a stronger and more inclusive Ghana. And I have in studio Emma Wenani. She's a chief director at Global Media Alliance, and also Margaret Nuela Chekpeche. She's executive director of Empowering Female Minds in STEM. And these are two women who are doing amazing stuff in their spaces. Ladies, you're welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Thank you, Nee.
All right, good to have the two of you. Now, first of all, let me get into your leadership journeys. All right, I want to hear how you got into leadership, what it has been like for you, and all of that. So tell us about your journey. Let me start with you, Emma.
Okay. Well, I hope my story inspires somebody because it's a story of dreaming. I must say that I'm an intentional dreamer. I've always known the things I want to do, and maybe I fight a little bit more to get into them. So I got into a leadership journey when I was very young.
Wow.
I think I got my first director role when I was 27 years old. I was the only lady director, and I was young. I was a 27-year-old who is at a director level and trying to ensure that she makes a difference. So for me, that was challenging one. Because, of course, there's always should I call it imposter syndrome of, am I able to do it? Can I do it? I'm surrounded by all these men. Do they look down on me? And so on and so forth. But I had to keep on reminding myself that, you know what, you're here. You have the opportunity. If you break down and cannot do it, what are the other people behind you going to say? But if you rise to the occasion and you're able to deliver as you can, to the best of your ability, not saying that you will not fail. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is always a way to step right back up.
Right.
So for me, that has always been my journey, and I've been surrounded by amazing women who have often held my hand, have often told me that you're not alone. We also started somewhere, and it's just an opportunity for you to also go the extra mile. So that's how I got into the leadership journey, and it's been amazing, for lack of a better word. And I think for me, it's always been one of the things that I always tell my younger sisters, the people that I mentor, that once you put your mind on something, you should be able to exceed even expectations.
Right.
Just don't always think that because I'm afraid I can't do it. Do it even afraid. So that keeps me going.
Do it afraid.
Yes.
Wow. So your first shot at leadership really was around 27.
No.
Okay.
Let's say 2 years before that. So I was the head of a department, and then 2 years after that, then I became a director. Yeah. So I
Which
kind of
sector was
moved
that?
back. When I came into Ghana, I first started in HR. So I was doing HR for some time. And then when our head of HR left, I was asked, would you like to take up the opportunity? And I said, why not? I was new country, new people, new systems. You're learning the Ghana labor law, which I was not familiar with, but it was something I was like, why not? If not now, when? So after 2 years, then I was promoted to director level.
How was that particular role for you?
Working with people is interesting. One, because people are stubborn, not because they want to be stubborn, but because they don't like being told what to do. And in the HR field, you're constantly sort of giving rules. So if people, and rules are for a good thing,
Right.
because if all of us from different backgrounds, we're just all doing what we want, it will be chaos. It will be a jungle. So we need to put on some certain procedures and so on and so forth. So One, you're not Ghanaian. You're coming to tell us what to do in our country. You're also young. You're coming to tell us older people who are way older than you, 10, 20 years, about why your rules are supposed to be working. So, you're battling with a lot of things. But you need to meet people at their point of, you need to get their buy-in.
Okay.
So have conversations with them. Ask them, this is the reason why we are doing this. Don't just put a certain policy because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Explain to them. They don't know about it. So just tell them this is why it's important. And then once you get their buy-in, they will even be the ones pushing for the next thing because now they believe where you're coming from. I think that's one thing we kind of get wrong as leaders. We become tellers. Don't become tellers. Speak to people, converse. Let them know that this is why we're doing this. Even if you've already decided it has to be done, but let them get the buy-in and things will work amazingly for you.
Things will work amazingly for you. I'm going to come back to you. There are some things you've mentioned. You mentioned imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about that shortly. I know that's one of the biggest challenges a lot of people face, not even just women, but also men themselves. But let me come to you, Margaret. Now, Margaret, so how did it also start for you? Was it like Emma's journey, 27 thereabout?
For me, I would say that my journey began with service as early as teenage years in church. So that's where I got my leadership experience.
Okay.
Starting out in children's ministry, from then leading the youth group, and then from then training to become a pastor. So for me, church started it, and church is people. So so like she said, if you know how to get people's buy-in, you can thrive in any space. So because of that, by the time I got to the university, right from level 100, I was drafted as either a class rep for the subject I'm in, or even on campus, you'd have people approaching you. I think you can do this. I think you can lead this space. So that's how leadership started for me. For me, it has always been, I came to serve. Yes. And that has been my biggest motivation, that I am solving a problem.
Right.
I am solving a problem. But I haven't had women supporting me from the beginning. For me, till I entered into the empowering female minds in STEM community space, the term women supporting women was actually a myth for me.
I see.
Because in church, thanks to competition, comparison, we saw quite a number of women showing their talents, let me put it that way, with backbiting, slandering and all that. So I stuck more to men. So
you say in church?
In church. So if you see me in any space, even for the previous organization I worked in, 15 men, I was the only woman. That's where you find me. In the midst of men, as the only woman who is working, because at a point I actually used to ask God, why can't I be more feminine? But I realized that it helped me develop resilience. So now that I'm leading a women's organization, when I see women starting to give up, I tell them, oh, you have more strength than you know you can. You can really do it.
Right.
So it's helped me. It's toughened me. I've had to develop a tough skin because the space I'm in is male dominated anyway, which is STEM. And now you're trying to get women to understand that don't abandon what you are doing just to go start a family or for convenience sake. Stay at the research bench. We need your work. It's been tough getting women to take their eyes off, oh, if I follow through with a PhD, go to a postdoc, that would mean that starting a family will start after 30. Biological clock is running, blah, blah, blah. And it's been quite a journey.
Right. I see. So you started in church. Now, many people say leadership is a calling. Some people say it's something that you learn as you grow and all of that. So usually in church, we refer to some of these things as, oh, you've been called to actually do that.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt from the beginning?
No, I would say no one would do it, so I'll just step up.
To do it.
For me, I don't like seeing gaps.
Okay.
If I see a gap, I would question it, because my mantra since I was little was, why should I follow the status quo if the status quo is wrong?
Okay.
I would, like, head on. I used to be called a bull sometimes because I don't understand why, even culture, I used to question some of our cultural practices and some of the things that were being even done in church, that women should be sidelined. But when you see certain examples like Deborah like Esther, you know that women can rule and do it well because we carry a womb that is able to carry people along. So I don't see how we should be sidelined and be told that leadership is only when you are called to do it. If you see the gap, take up the slack and make sure that there is no space for someone to fall behind. Pull everybody along. Look, I'm here because a mentee once introduced me to Nitrevi. And I'm here a second time. I believe that you rise by lifting others up. Who would have known that my mentee had the sort of network that will put me in certain spaces?
Right.
So I have never believed in till you are called to do it, then you are just sitting aloof, arms crossed, let's see what God will do. No.
Okay.
He won't come down from heaven to write that brief.
Okay.
Someone has to do it. He won't come down to call those souls into church. Someone has to do it.
Okay.
So like he asked Isaiah, who will go for us? Who shall we send? Here I am, send me. That is our response.
Right.
Every time you see a gap, I will do it.
And that's
Don't leave
alone
it
is a
hanging.
calling for you.
I believe so.
Emma, you are in the corporate space. Is that the same thing for you? Do you see leadership as a calling?
I think it's both sides.
Okay.
It can be a calling, but also it can be something that is learned.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
because some people do grow into leadership. You know, you find a gap, an opportunity is created, and someone steps up. It doesn't mean they were called. It just means they're ready for that opportunity.
Right.
Someone can also be called, for lack of a better word, and then they don't do well as leaders. So it means somebody else needs to come. So for me, it's both. I
Okay.
think you can definitely take it up as a responsibility. Some people are just, should I say, natural leaders? Like in any particular way they find themselves, it's almost like they're always directing, telling, leading, finding solutions, and so on and so forth. Organizing, exactly. So those ones are more natural, but others need to be spoken to a little bit and told, you know, I've noticed, Nee, that you have these really good organizing skills. Or I've noticed, Nee, when you say something, people tend to listen. Have you thought of, you know? So you have to kind of hint it to them and let them know that there's this something that I've recognized in you, that if you just push a little bit, you would be a great leader.
Right.
And those both parties succeed in their leadership. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I think that we need that mindset shift, because some people think, oh, I'm not called into leadership. Let me just be where I am. But from say again,
that's where
mentorship comes in. Yes, we're going to talk about mentorship. So this actually opens our eyes to the fact that once you identify a problem, get in there and provide some solution if you can, which you can, because I believe everybody can. Now, Emma, you were talking earlier on about some women that actually inspired you and they helped you to become better at what you do and all of that. Let's use a few minutes to give them their flowers. So if you want to mention some of those people.
Absolutely. Yes, I would love to. The first one who I will always talk about is my first boss after university. I used to work for the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Her name is Diana Gishaga. She'll definitely not hear this because she's back in Kenya, but I'll still give her flowers. I will always give her flowers. She was an amazing leader. I looked up to Diana in ways that even when I'm doing something up to right now, I always ask, you know, the way you have, what will Jesus do? What would Jesus say? I always feel like, what would Diana do in such a situation? That's how much she inspired me. She brought the team together in a way that it did not matter whether you're an intern, whether you're just straight from university or you've been working at the stock exchange for 5-10 years. It was a team, and she noticed how everybody could contribute to that team. And that really, really inspired me. Because I just come from campus. I was green, working in a sector in the stock exchange, and you're like, what really can I contribute? But she told me, you know what, you can do this. And for that, I've always pushed myself to do further. I also belong to Executive Women Network in Ghana. And I joined Executive Women Network in 2017. And the reason I joined this network is because I remember looking at the pictures after their launch, and it was full of amazing women. It was founded by 6 amazing women. There was Frida Duplan, there was Lucy Quist, there's Meidi Akutu, there's who else is there? Edith Dankwa, and these are great women in Ghana. You know, you're looking at them, and I think then I was about 28, and I'm like, if these women can do it, why can't I? Right. Because a lot of them had these titles of first woman, you know, and it's amazing that we get to live in the era where we have the first female vice president of our nation, which means a little girl somewhere in school can see that there's a woman like her who is vice president, meaning when she says, I want to grow up to be a vice president, it actually makes sense that she can grow up to become a vice president because somebody else has done that.
Right.
You know, when you've never seen such, it's impossible to even dream. And now such things make our dreams valid. I've also had mentees who, you know, sometimes you think that as a mentor, it's you who is supposed to inspire your mentees. Your mentees can actually inspire you. I had a mentee who I was mentoring from Ashesi. Her name is Diana. And Diana was in the STEM field, and she would speak so confidently.
Wow.
You know, I think there's a difference, the Gen Zs, with how they speak. They speak like they can change the world. They're not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
You know, they speak like, what I'm telling you is actually going to pass, and it will come to pass.
Right.
And that sort of confidence, I feel, is something that personally I lacked when I was growing up. I think we tend to fight a lot with what if we look at the things that could go wrong. But she always used to say, what if it goes right?
Okay.
And that always changed me. So Diana, you might be listening, and honestly, that is one of the people that I will give my flowers to.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
I actually asked you to do that because, I mean, we're here talking about women supporting women and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's very important to always actually go back to them, because if there's somebody listening to us this morning, they would also know that, okay, one day if I also impact somebody and they get an opportunity like this, they would also be mentioned. Very important. So now you work in media and communications.
Yes.
And I know that in these spaces, you are the center of shaping narratives. How has your leadership journey influenced the way marketing and communication agencies approach diversity and inclusion?
I think it's in more of what are the kind of policies and processes I'm putting into place.
Okay.
So for me, it's one, I lead by example. And I hope that my example can show other people that it is possible for a woman to succeed. It's possible for a woman to be a leader of a big organization.
Right.
It's possible for a woman to be heard, and it's possible for a woman to bring other women up. Another thing that I always try to ensure it's done, I remind the young ladies in the organization, or the younger, or even any ladies that could be older, that leadership is not about titles.
True.
You know, just because you're not the head of or the manager of does not mean you cannot be a leader, right? So there are certain projects that we have to intentionally ensure that we have women leading, just so that they can learn how to put themselves out there.
Right.
There's something that we sort of fight with, which is we don't like putting ourselves at the forefront, because sometimes it's almost like we're the only ones who are supposed to fail. So we fear failing. And therefore, there's that sort of embarrassment that comes with, what if I fail?
Yeah.
Men don't think like that. A man, for example, if there's a job that you're going to apply for, a man might qualify for 20% of what they have put there. And this man will still apply and confidently want to be called for interviews. Women, we might have even 98% qualification. The 2% that is not there, you're like, it's not for me. And so those are the things that we really, really fight with. So the intentionality of just trying to encourage people to put themselves out there is there. And I also mentor a lot. And sometimes mentorship is not always formal, like there's somebody you're mentoring. I do know that people look up to me. So I try as much as possible to ensure, not like I'm putting pressure on myself, but just so that I don't put myself in situations where if someone is looking up to me, they'll be like, okay, if she can be able to do that, is she really the kind of person I want to be able to lead?
Right.
So I think those are the three things. Leadership by example, intentionally creating opportunities for other women, and then also lifting as we rise, which is something that Margaret said. It's so important because if we don't handhold, like she said, she wasn't handheld, I was handheld. It doesn't mean that now, because she wasn't handheld, she's not doing the same thing. She has decided, nobody held my hand, and therefore I'm not going to hold anybody's hand. No, she has decided nobody held my hand, and but I know how important it is to have your hand held. I'm going to ensure that nobody sits somewhere and says my hand was not held by Margaret. I will hold their hand.
Right.
So I think it's really important to do that.
Right. Very important. Have you faced any challenges or any resistance trying to do that, and how did you overcome it?
I think the resistance mainly are what would call the barriers to why women don't like putting themselves forward, is what I would call the resistance I've faced. So one of the things is cultural and societal expectations. So there's this, it has improved, but there's still this issue of women are supposed to, so a woman is supposed to by 30 have gotten married. A woman is supposed to at this age have gotten kids, and therefore if you're trying to promote a woman at this age, she's going to think, oh my God, so does that mean I'm going to abandon my family and then concentrate, like Margaret said,
Margaret was saying,
concentrate on family. So there are people who still, their minds are really influenced by that sort of cultural norms, and therefore they can't be able to break it. Or they'll literally tell you that in my society or in my culture, a woman is not supposed to become, because what if I become a leader, I'm a manager of, and my husband is not? Can you imagine how that home is going to be?
Right.
So am I better than my husband? Am I bigger than him? There's still such things that come to play. So we need to balance them. Another thing that I would call resistance or barriers is, we're talking about imposter syndrome, but let me call it just the visibility gap, where we don't like putting ourselves forward because we question ourselves so much. Then there's also the issue of...
How do we deal with that?
Yeah. Networks. You need to find a network of people who can be able to let you know that you can actually overcome this, and you're capable. That imposter syndrome is that little voice in our head that's always telling us you will fail, you're about to go on stage, you might even fall, you don't even look good, your voice is shaking, and so on and so forth. But people listening to you are nodding. So you need to keep yourself encouraged that, maybe I'm seeing something good, but also prepare. Don't stand in front of a stage and you haven't prepared and you expect to just magically, say things. So just prepare and ensure you're ready. Everything else is honestly etc. Nobody's even hearing your voice shake. And so what if it shakes? Have you delivered your message? Yes. Even with that shaking voice, you've delivered it, and people have heard, right? And then there's the aspect of work-life balance, especially on the side of the women, where because... again, and it's not a bad thing, that there are certain family responsibilities that women will participate in more than men. So as a woman, if let's say you're getting a promotion and you're thinking of, we need to leave the country and so on and so forth, most women would first tell their employer, I need to, speak to my husband, check with my family and so on and so forth. But you will find, unless you have a very, very good man, the man will come and now tell you, I accepted this role and we are supposed to leave the country, but you have to now go and start having a discussion. I personally don't believe in the aspect of work-life balance, because there is no way that you can have 50-50 of work and 50 of the life. You just need to integrate your life, your work into your life. Because at the end of the day, you have different titles. You're a CEO, or a manager, you're a sister, you're a friend, you're a church member, you sing in the choir, you volunteer, and therefore you need to be able to create time for these things that you have put your hand up to do. You shouldn't ignore one for the other just because you need to find a way to integrate it into your life and not to balance. I think it's the pressure of calling it a balance that gets to us. And therefore, when people see, how am I going to now ensure when I get from work, I'm going to cook, I'm going to take care of my children, I'm going to do homework with them, then therefore I don't want to get extra responsibilities. I want to be there for my children. But we've seen women doing it. We've seen women who live with their mothers because their mothers are able to take care of their children, and then have some peace of mind. Or even it's not a relative, you have somebody who is helping you in the house. One, you're creating employment. You're also creating employment. So this person can be able to give you a peace of mind for you to work until 5:00 and come home, and somebody else is supposed to help with your kids, and then maybe over the weekends, ensure that you catch up on all these things. It's just about integration. The balance is something that we're trying to get, but it's not possible to balance. You can't. You're gonna break. You're a human being, not a robot.
That's true. All right, very important. Thank you. Let's just touch on the imposter, then I come to you, Margaret. The imposter syndrome. How did you overcome that briefly?
I talk to myself a lot.
Okay.
So even before I came into these studios, the questions were sent to me yesterday. You can prepare as much as you can, but anything could go wrong.
That's true.
Your phone could go off.
The host can
ask a very different question. Like, this question was not there, me.
Right.
So this question was not there. But because it's something that I feel you just have to tell yourself that just speak what's on your mind and see that it can be done, but also prepare.
That's true.
And don't overthink. That's how I've been able to. So I'm I'm a very prepared person.
Okay.
I'm also an overthinker, unfortunately. So I always have to tell myself, don't overthink. Like even right now, I'm telling myself, don't overthink. And also just think about if I was to inspire somebody else and they were listening, or if I was listening and somebody was speaking, what would I like them to tell me? And then say that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay, let me come to you. We're going to... Okay, right. I'm looking at the time, so we still have some time. Margaret, you are in STEM, and I know that...
I would like to give my flowers to those women who
Okay, sure, that's all right.
There may be few, but actually they are the ones who gave me hope.
Okay.
That women supporting women actually is a thing.
It's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the first person is my mother. She was my first employer. That's Reverend Dr. Mrs. Patricia Abo.
Okay.
And then Dr. Anna Olanrewaju. She's the founder of Empowering Female Minds in STEM.
Okay.
She is the one who's giving me the platform to lift other women up. And the last person is Larissa Akrofi. She is the founder for Working Motherhood Initiative. And it's been a platform that has gotten me from bitter to better, because I was laid off from corporate. Getting back in became a whole issue. And it gave me a platform where other women are going through what I went through. You give birth, you have to resign because the child has special needs or has an issue. And then you get back into corporate, and then you are being questioned about your gaps, your competence, especially if childhood issues come up and you have to leave work early or not make up. It's a whole mix. So Larissa has given us a platform where we learn more about our laws per country. So we have so many African countries on board, and you can check it out on LinkedIn, on our website, Working Motherhood Initiative. It's been a blessing.
Right.
So opportunities for those of us who now just want to switch to remote work so that we can have more time for our family. Because the mix has been, why should I choose my ambition over family when we can actually negotiate for the two to be able to be side by side? Yes. So please.
Those are the people you want to, right?
I want to acknowledge.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, and I'm touched how you, yeah, I mean, kudos to all of those people who have helped both of you to get to where you are today. Now, so I was asking that, I mean, you are in STEM, and STEM is often described as a male-dominated space. How did you navigate that environment to rise into leadership?
All right. So I believe that STEM, male dominance.
Yeah.
We've not had too many women be visible in terms of the work they've been doing in the STEM field. I remember when Hidden Figures came out, that movie with Taraji P. Henson and these other women who were supposed to have helped NASA get this first spaceship out into space. It made me realize that we needed to start something we call spotlighting. So for STEM and navigating to get through, it's been a matter of showing women that there are other women like you, even if there's just one in your field. Look to her. If you can just email her, reach out to her. But it just needs one person telling them that, I did it, you can do it.
Right.
So for STEM being a male-dominated space, I tend to think that Empowering Female Minds in STEM is one of those communities that have helped shield women against their bias by creating a community where, oh, if you see a blockade here, don't worry, we know someone who can open a different door.
Right.
And I wouldn't say we've created a bubble, but community is where I've seen change will now start from. Because if we say that one woman would stand, speak, gone are those days where you as a single voice are able to make impact. We have so many people speaking these days.
Right.
So what is the best way for things to move forward? Community.
Okay.
So once you create a thriving community where people know that if I'm moving in the field of biochemistry, there's this professor who has a small cohort of ladies she's mentoring, then you are giving what are the options in the field. I believe that what has helped me get to where I am is, for me, it has been try and error. If a door closes, I have to look for a different door. Where would I fit in?
Right.
Where can I use my skills? So it's from volunteering, from taking up leadership positions in areas where you wouldn't even you're in your community, you hear that someone is coming to teach children robotics. You're just joining. Teach them. You never know who can connect you to what.
Right.
Yes. So I believe that volunteering is what has pushed me to where I am
Where
today.
You are today.
Yes. If you're always looking at what can I get out of it instead of how can I serve or solve an issue, because STEM has always been, what are we solving? That is the whole basis of STEM. We are solving an issue, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in the science field, whether it's in engineering, we are solving an issue.
Right.
So yours is to start from the ground up. If I were to be put in charge of traffic lights, how would I fix that?
Okay.
Yes. So you are looking at, okay, what resources are available for me to know how to do that? Do I go online? Is there a community that does it? You realize that abroad, you have so many communities on Discord, so many communities on Slack, and that is what has helped people, especially those who are introverts, to actually get people to support the projects they are doing, give them ideas as to how to do things differently and how to look at things from a different perspective. Right. So I believe that community is and volunteerism is what has helped me navigate certain things.
To be able to climb to the top. So, and also I think it's availability, the fact that you put yourself out there and take up the roles. And somebody said that God does not look for ability, but he looks for availability. Once you're available, he can use you. Yes, in this particular context, I see that as well. All right, so it's exactly 34 minutes after 9. This is a business breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitra Bihamon. This morning, we're talking about women in leadership, and I have two amazing individuals in the studio here who are having this conversation with me this morning. Emma Wenani is the Chief Director at Global Media Alliance, and also Margaret Noella Chekpeche is the Executive Director of Empowering Female Minds in STEM. And these are the two individuals who are speaking with me this morning right here on the show. You're free to join the conversation. It's a very interactive one. Feel free to send us your messages. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment under the live stream and I'll read them for you. You can also send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, and I'll read your messages for you. You can also call me on 03039566641, 03039566641. And then I'll give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning right here. Now, let me come back to you, Margaret. Now, Margaret, while trying to rise to the top, did you at any point doubt yourself? And how did you overcome it, if you did?
Imposter syndrome is really a thing. And for doubting myself, especially if I was pivoting from admin to tech. So I took up small courses so that I could get into that field. But as for doubting yourself, it is something that is there. What has helped is community.
Okay.
Yes.
So you also mentioned network.
Yes.
Right.
So who you know who would help because to have people who speak into your heart, tell you assuredly that you can do this, has been a great help. And most people aren't into affirmations. I think it's just these days that it's starting to pick up. But being able to talk to yourself, like Emma said, is very important.
Very important.
What are you looking at immediately you wake up? Is there any mantra you have? Those things are lifelines. They help you even on days where you can't seem to drag yourself to sit behind your PC and work. What is the end game? You have to state it from the beginning.
Right.
That way you don't lose sight of the goal. That is also what has helped. And then going to ladies, there are times just cold calling somebody or going on to a program, you would hear other people's stories that inspire you. That's what I used to do. I got to a point where in a year, I'll tell you that the number of women's conferences I attend were phenomenal. And I had to start telling myself one day I would also speak on those stages because I know my story. I had to learn how to first own my narrative and that I am not a victim. You can't continue being a victim of circumstances. True. You have to learn how to write your own story. Own it and then start rewriting it. And then have a lifeline, a mantra you hold on to. This is the reason why I exist. This is why I'm pursuing this goal. And then also, imposter syndrome is a thing. So there's something I tell people, if you want to know how to first solve a problem, give it a name.
Okay.
So that name is imposter syndrome. That name is self-doubt. Go online, search about it. How to overcome it. So we actually even did a masterclass on imposter syndrome for the ladies in the community, and it's up on YouTube. It's been very, very helpful.
Wow. Okay.
Very, very helpful.
Right. All right. Thank you. Let me come back to you, Emma. Now let's talk about leadership, women in leadership generally. You came all the way from Kenya, right?
Yes.
To Ghana, and I'm sure you've been observing the trends and all of that. You've been around for quite some time. How many years?
16 years.
16 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. What do you think is a current landscape of women in leadership in Ghana?
Oh, right now it's changed. It's changed a lot. I think for the positive, it's changed quite well. It's a gradual process. Of course, all of us are going towards the equity. We're looking towards equity. We still have very few women in politics, for example. We don't have a lot of women in politics. So if we compare ourselves to like Rwanda, where in their parliament, I think it's women are even more. It should be 56%. In Ghana, no, not at all. We are I don't even up to 20%.
No,
so
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
And we do want to have more women in policy decisions, because a lot of these places where sometimes women do not want to get into are the places that are actually making policies that would change the narrative of the country. However, in the corporate side, I think the corporate side is doing quite well when it comes to women in leadership. We do find a lot more female CEOs in the country. We find a lot of females in boards as well. We find a lot of females in decision-making tables. Ghana is actually one of the countries around the world that is very much recognized for the number of entrepreneurs who are women. So it means that we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are creating opportunities for other people.
Right.
And a huge majority is women. So the process is slow. Let me say gradual. Let me not call it slow, but it has greatly improved. A few years back, it will not have been the same. So we just need to be able to be intentional about, working towards equity. And, sometimes we hear equity and equality, and we feel that we want to give women responsibility just because they're women, just because we want to hit the numbers.
Gender.
No, we don't want that. We want to give competent women the opportunity. So I think that's something that we need to do, but we're on the right track. We're on the right track.
Do you think, do you agree with Emma on that, Margaret?
Oh, I really do, because the only way for women to have the opportunity to lead is to give them access. So how do we create that platform? Leadership opportunity starts from leading a team of 2, a team of 3, to a whole organization. And I believe that access isn't it's like Emma said, it's gradual, because you can even go to a corporate space and you realize that even the succession system, the promotion system is not transparent. You don't know how it is that people are being promoted. So you're even afraid of doing things like going on maternity leave, because it will affect your performance review and then set you back. Yes, so I believe that, yes, we are currently thriving in terms of leadership spaces. More women are visible in leadership spaces.
Right. Emma, back to you. So you mentioned that the pace is quite slow. Are there some cultural, societal issues or things that are, or factors really, that are making this, that are actually leading to how slow things are in that space?
I don't think the cultural aspects are the main issue. There are some, absolutely. There are some, like I mentioned, where a woman would think, if I get into this role, how would I support my family, or what will my family members think? Or maybe you have a very chauvinistic husband in your life, and therefore he does not believe for you to be maybe at a role that is higher than him, not knowing that role that is higher than him is in your office, not in the home. When you come back home, you're still his wife, you're still, all those things that you're supposed to be as a wife. But anyway, that cultural norm is still there. What I feel currently is the biggest issue is actually access to opportunities. Access to opportunities, and then also the visibility gap.
Explain that.
So access to opportunities means that how do we find these opportunities?
Okay.
Yeah. Margaret just spoke about succession planning. Sometimes if as an organization you're not intentional about creating spaces for women to thrive, a lot of them will not thrive. So you need to be able to push them just a little bit. Create platforms. I see a lot of organizations right now having an association for women. So let's say women of Absa Bank. I've seen women of MTN. So they have these associations where they have certain topics that they're discussing that will, encourage more women to get into leadership opportunities. I saw it was started by MTN Benin, where Uche Ofodile, who is the CEO, she created a day where one woman would be the CEO of the day. Like intentionally become the CEO of the day. Yes, from the cash is being driven in, like you're really the CEO. You have a driver, you're being driven in this car, you're sitting at management meetings, you're leading the meeting. So it shows that you can be able to do it just with a little guidance. And therefore, we need to be intentional about this. So that's what I mean with access for opportunities. Okay. The second one is the visibility issue. If, let's say, you're not visible, you're not contributing to any discussion. Anytime people talk about what can we be able to do to change the perception of how women are perceived at the workplace, or what are your thoughts to how we can be able to include more girls in STEM or something, what is your opinion? How are you contributing to it? Some people are very good writers, so they contribute by writing. So they have certain articles that are being published. That's a visibility platform. Others are good speakers, so they go for conferences and they're able to speak. Even maybe you're not the speaker, but just because there's a time when a question was asked and you raise your hand and you answer that question, or you even asked a question, it puts you at the forefront. And I think these are some of the things that women are really afraid of, being at the forefront of something. But we need to create those opportunities for visibility. We have to put ourselves forward as a thought leader, as somebody who has an opinion on something, and I always believe that when you're not seen, unfortunately, in the kind of world that we live in right now, it means you don't exist. So you have to find a way to be seen, right? If somebody wanted to look for a STEM expert to come and contribute to something. Now I know Margaret is a STEM expert. I've met her. I can see she exists. I've seen how passionate she speaks about women in STEM.
Because she accepted to be on the show.
Yes. So if she hadn't accepted, I wouldn't have met her. She wouldn't have now been in my network of STEM experts. So next time there's something, I'll think of her and be like, okay, how can I get in touch with her? The same way she'll think of somebody in communications and marketing and do the same thing. But if you're not seen, it means you're not exist. So just don't try to use your strengths, your skills, your competency. Let your talent speak for you, and that is how you're going to be visible. So I think that's what we need to do.
Okay, Margaret, do you have anything to add to that? We move to mentorship.
Excellent submission. If your work is not seen, you are not visible.
True.
And how would you have influence if you're not visible? That is where we've reached, women influencing policy. So it starts from, it gets to a point where you say, okay, I want to change the way I do things. And then you realize, okay, where do I start from? So that's where community has helped. If you go to a community of women who say, okay, we are pushing ourselves to write more on LinkedIn. We are pushing ourselves more into creative writing. We are pushing ourselves to write to the ministries. Would you support the work we are doing? That is what would, I would say, catapult people to accountability, that I have decided to change things, and these people will help me stay accountable.
Okay. All right, great. Now let's talk about mentorship, and I'll come back to Emma because she had like more structured mentors. You had males, right? Like you said, instead of females. So let me come to Emma on that one. Emma, how important is it? How important is mentorship?
I am a product of mentorship. I'm a product of mentorship. I will always speak to mentorship at the top of my voice. In fact, when Margaret was talking about mantras, one of my mantras is aspire to inspire before you expire. Okay. So my aspiration is my aspiration is to always inspire people by what I do, because other people have inspired me. So two things that mentorship has done for me: different perspective. Somebody has been in corporate longer than I. They understand corporate politics. They understand what it means for a woman to be in a male-dominated field. They understand how, as a young lady, you're trying to succeed in your career. They understand how, as a young lady, you're trying to balance work and life. So they've gone through it and they know it. So they will give me a perspective. I don't have to go through everything because somebody else has gone through it, and they'll give me a different perspective to how I can be able to tackle some of those things, right? Another thing is opportunities.
Yeah.
Sometimes people speak your name in rooms that you're not present in. You know, you can't be everywhere at the
That's
same
true.
time. So somebody is in a room, they're having a conversation, they're having a meeting, and somebody's looking for the best marketing and communications person in Ghana. I might not be in that room, but maybe a mentor or a coach or somebody who knows me will say, oh, why don't you get in touch with Emma? You know, so there's that access to opportunities that they can also be able to do. And then maybe the last thing I can say is advocacy. Because at the end of the day, once you have a network, once you have a mentor, a coach, it means you can be able to advocate for certain things to be done.
That's true.
We are enjoying right now what we call International Women's Day because somebody somewhere advocated for it. I don't think it existed at all. So somebody advocated and thought, let's have a day where we celebrate women. Let's have a month where we are all around the world pushing for opportunities, for platforms, for thought leadership areas where women can contribute. Let's have a theme that we can be able to all be talking about, and then the young girls can be able to say that, okay, it's possible.
Right.
So advocacy is extremely important, and we need to be able to come together to do that. And that's what mentorship does.
Right. Emma, you have anything, sorry, Margaret, do you have anything to add to that?
So yes, I may not have been mentored structurally by a woman, but currently that's what IFEMS does.
Right.
We have a whole mentorship program that we run annually, because we've seen that mentors open doors and mentees would help do what I call STEM inheritance. So by all means, someone has to take your place.
Right.
Like Emma's mantra says, before you expire, you should have inspired someone. And that person can take your place. But if another woman is not taking your place, then how would things progress? If we say we want to bring in the diversity and inclusion practices. I remember when my mom, during her working days, was drafted into, she applied and then she got this mentorship opportunity with AWAD, the African Women's, I think it's to do with research and development in agriculture. And she was in Kenya for, I think, almost a year. Yeah, that expanded her capacity. The woman that went and the woman that came back were two different people.
Wow.
So when you tell me mentorship, I'll tell you, okay, where do we start? I will help you draft the program. I'll help you structure it. Because I believe that mentorship also brings in accountability. There's someone who is checking on my progress. I have to answer for the work I'm doing. There are people who are not self-motivated, but when they have someone who is checking in on them, they are pushed more to aspire to be like the person and then hit the standard the person has created for them. So I would say that mentorship, if structured properly, would cause more of the impact we are seeing.
Right.
And advocacy is a long game. It won't change things now.
That's true.
But by the time the world catches up to the fact that things have to change, we have the women who are competent enough to hold the spaces we are creating for them. So, yeah.
Okay, great. So mentorship is very important. I wish you could go into how to, ask somebody to mentor you and all of those ones, but our time is almost up and we have to go. So let's touch on building inclusive leadership. What can organizations, institutions, and even governments do to create that environment that encourages women or more women to step into leadership roles? And I can start with you, Margaret.
So governments can start from the classroom.
Okay.
The women, the teachers, are we doing more of train the trainer programs? How are we at a district level encouraging more women to take up certain roles? When it comes to education, how is government preparing scholarship schemes and then accountability together with that scholarship scheme so that the ladies who are taking on board are actually mentored by people in academia who would push them to stay excellent. And so that's for education wise, and then government interventions. But interventions like entrepreneurship programs, interventions like district, like hosting. It's been a dream of mine that sorry, it's been a dream of mine that we get a space where government has this scheme, trains women to go out there for impact and backs them with money.
Okay.
I have an initiative. I can reach 60 girls in my village. I have the ears of my Busiapini. I have the ears of the Queen Mother in my village. Where can I get sponsorship to be able to run that initiative? Do we have a structure like that? Yes, I believe government can create spaces where like women can thrive.
Okay, right. She's speaking about government, so now let's come to you for institutions.
Okay. One of the things we can be able to do is to have inclusive policies.
Okay.
You know, so we've seen organizations where they've realized that so long as the ladies are not, when we don't know who is taking care of our children, sometimes it becomes a burden. So we do have places at work that they have, like a creche where mothers can come with their children. They have minders and they can, you're in the office, but you know where your child is. So that's an inclusive policy where you create that. So you also have offices that have a special place where women who are breastfeeding can go and nurse their kids, or even because you've gone back to work and you're still breastfeeding, you still need to be able to get the milk and store it properly. So there's that's inclusive. It means that they're working with the times that are going. We also need to be able to create an inclusive culture, because sometimes if we don't create a culture where our opinions as women are heard, it has to be intentional in the sense that get diverse opportunities. If, let's say, there's a speaking opportunity and it's just the men who are putting their hand up, ensure there's a woman there, because there's a woman who can be able to contribute to that. So that's what the inclusivity is. Ensure that you have the opinion of your female colleagues as well. They might not be as loud as their male counterparts, but just try and get the opinion in a way that it shows that they also matter. And then finally, create clear pathways for advancement. So the training opportunities at work, they have to be balanced for both the men and the women. Promotional opportunities, the structure has to be really, really transparent and clear, how people are getting promoted, so that if your male colleagues and the female colleagues both go for it, they both have the same qualifications, they know that one of us will get it, not because she's a woman that she will get it, but because she also has the right qualifications. Right. So in a nutshell, inclusive policies at work, inclusive opinions, and then also ensuring that you have a structured, clear pathway for advancement. Okay. Yes.
Right. Thank you very much. We're going to wrap up now, but I have some few messages that have come through this morning. This one is from Rusmon Nana Owusua Kabwa. She says that Lady Pastor M. Nuela, I think she knows her. She sends some fire emoji and some hearts emojis as well. And also Theophilus King said, insightful conversation. And right, Rusmon again says that very, very insightful, Emma Wenani. I think she also gives some shout outs to you. And then Principal Labi said, it's so important to lift up women. Great one there, Emma Wenani. Very insightful conversation. And Becca Okan says, women need more examples in male-dominated spaces, even if it's just one. Thank you, Noella. And also, Rusmon again says that LP Margaret Noella, very encouraging and knowledgeable. And Patricia Abu says, insightful discussion. All right. Thank you very much for sending those messages. Okay. This one also says, from Ruth Okan Ajiti, says that I really do need a mantra for myself. The vim to wake up and go each morning is hard. Thank you for sharing. All right. And then, right. I think those are some of the messages that have come through this morning. So let's wrap up. I mean, we're celebrating women, International Women's Day. What messages would you like to share with young girls and women in Ghana who aspire to become leaders in their own fields like yourselves? And so let me do Margaret, and then I wrap up with Emma.
So I'd like to end with, you are remarkable. Sit down, do an audit of your strengths and your weaknesses. Know yourself. Those weaknesses can be addressed by a mentor. Get close to somebody. But by all means, you are remarkable. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Margaret. And Emma, finally.
Okay. So to end, I'd like to say to the young girls listening that you can actually be anything you want to be. There's a but only if you actually put in the work. You cannot be anything you want to be if you sit back and relax and do nothing about it. So find a community, find a mentor, find a coach, find women who you look up to hold your hand, and you will be anything that you want to be, so long as you put your mind to it.
So long as you put your mind to it. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining me this morning. I think it's been a very, very good conversation, and I've enjoyed it myself. Learned a lot, and I hope that our listeners have also picked a thing or two from this conversation. Really grateful that you came.
Thank you, Nee.
All right. Okay. So that's how we wrap up today. My guests this morning were Margaret Noella Chekpeche. She is the executive. She's the executive director. The chief. So executive director at Empowering Female Minds in STEM, and also Emma Wenani is the chief director at Global Media Alliance. And these are the two individuals who joined me this morning for our special International Women's Day conversation. We've been talking about leadership, very important nuggets shared by these two amazing people, and you can get all of that on our social media platforms. If you miss any part of the conversation, visit our social media platforms on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia, and you can get all of the information right there. Well, thank you very much for staying with us. I hope you've been inspired by the incredible stories and wisdom and insights shared by our guests. Remember that leadership isn't just about titles, it's about actually you stepping up to take up roles, and that is how we wrap up today. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. We're back again tomorrow for more interesting conversations right here on the Business Breakfast on Z. We're back at exactly 6:15 up until 9:55. Until then, keep listening to Z 101.9 FM. And when you think Ghana, think Z. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okoria Mwako. I'll see you tomorrow.